Entering grades in GuestVision. You are able to enter grades and track different procedures or classroom items within your software by using the Grades tab. To get to your Grades tab, you'll want to click Manager and Grades. If you're prompted with a password, enter your password or your fingerprint. If you are denied access to the area, you'll want to reach out to your management team to ensure that they give you access. Within this tab, you're going to see the name of your school or the name of your location, and you're going to see the date. It's going to always default to the current date, but you can come in here and create date ranges if you needed to. So if you wanted to see information on this screen for multiple days or a month's range of time, you can come in here and select your days, add the check mark, and that'll allow you to enter an end date. It's going to always again default to your current day. You can also filter by instructors as well as different programs and courses of your students. So if you were reviewing all the grades that are entered in here, you can filter that data and information to see only the folks that you want to. I'm going to go ahead and walk you through the steps of adding a grade. So in order to add a grade, you're going to click Add Item. That's going to pop up this window that's going to allow you to select the instructor. If you are an instructor, this is where you would find your name from the list. If you do not see your name on this list, make sure you reach out to management. You most likely are in the system. Maybe you're not assigned to the instructor job. So you just want to let your management know to ensure that they've added you in as an instructor so that your name appears on this section. The next portion here is the student's name. So from the drop-down list, you're going to want to go ahead and select the student that you're adding a grade for. You do have the option to add grades for multiple students. So if maybe you just did a quiz and everybody's going to get credit for that, or maybe you just got done doing haircuts on mannequins and everybody's just getting a credit for that haircut on the mannequin, and you want to select multiple, you can say multiple students. What that'll do is that when you add the grade, it'll pop up the list of all the students, and you can do a select all or go in through that list and select those specific students that you want to add that for. In this case, we're just going to select one student here. And then it's going to display all the services. So in this area, you're actually going to see all the services that are entered within GuestVision, including your live services and any other items that you guys have added. In order for you to be able to enter a grade for something, it has to be entered in as a service. So I will walk you through those steps after this, just in case you need to go and create those items and add them in. We recommend to have some type of service type or category that indicates that it's a classroom item, maybe such as theory. So you can see here I have a category named theory, and this is where my quizzes are entered. So I would recommend creating something called classroom or theory, or maybe your chapter test, your curriculum name, whatever is going to make sense to you and your staff. That's what you want to name those items. But we'll touch base about that in a little bit. But as you can see here, all the items available for you to grade for is all the services that I have entered in my system. So I have waxing, colors. So if you want to grade anything that is also considered a live service in here, you most certainly can. But if you are trying to enter a quiz grade or something from your classroom, I'm going to go ahead and select my theory quiz number 1 here. And if this was done on a live person, if this was like a haircut that maybe the students worked on each other, or you allowed them to bring in non-paying customers, perhaps, you can always enter the guest or the client's information there in the case that maybe you did do that during classroom time. Otherwise, you can always just leave it as mannequin as a default. Even if it's a quiz, you can just default it as mannequin, and you're going to enter quantity. So how many? This is a great way to, for a quiz, of course, they would just be a 1, but this is a great way to enter multiple credits for other services, such as maybe pedicures. So maybe everybody worked on pedicures today and everybody was able to complete 5 pedicures. So you can enter the number 5 and they'll get that many quantities for that. It's going to default to today's date and time, and you're going to go ahead and enter the grade. So the grade here is whatever you want it to mean. So if you like to grade from 1 to 100, you can enter 100 there. If they received 100, if they received a 90, you can enter that there. If you guys have a different grading scale, then of course you can use that. And you want to keep in mind that this is an overall grade. So you've already went through your criterias of determining what that student's grade should be. So if this was an actual service like a haircut or a manicure, you've already went through your own criterias as to all the different steps they should have taken, and the overall grade gets entered into this section here. You can then go ahead and say save and close if you're done, or you can say save and add another item if you were ready to just continue adding more and more grades in here for different students. Again, if you're adding the same exact grade for multiple students, I highly suggest utilizing the multiple students. It's going to save you a lot of time. Even if maybe everybody got 100 and you have 2 students that got a 90, you can always add everybody as 100 and go back and just edit those 2 students, and that'll still save you tons of time. So you can go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and do save and close. Once you save and close, that's going to save that grade, and you'll see it listed in this section here. If you do not see the grade listed in this section, it did not save. So something went wrong. Maybe you forgot to click something. So always verify that it's listed here so that you make sure it looks good. And as you continue to add more grades for this day, you're going to continue to see them listed here. Now that we have a grade listed in this section, you can always come back in here and make corrections like I mentioned. So if you entered this one as a 100, but it was actually supposed to be a 90, you can click update grade. And that's going to go ahead and pop up this window that's going to show you your instructor name and also show you the grade that was originally given to that student. You're going to want to go ahead and change that if that's what you need to do. So you can go ahead and update it. So when you update grade, you're really just updating the actual grade that was given. If you need to clear this grade completely and remove it, you want to go ahead and highlight it and then click clear grade. And that'll go ahead and actually completely remove the grade, and you can go back and add it again if there was something that needed to be re-entered. Again, if you are prompted with a password through any of these steps like adding grades, updating the grades, or clearing the grades, you'll want to make sure that you're reaching out to management and letting them know so that they ensure that they've given you proper access. You can always come to the same tab and quickly print out a grade report card if you don't want to go into your report section. The grade report card is always available from the report section as well, but if you wanted to grab it right from here, this is always going to print out what's on your screen. So if you did want to filter a specific student or a specific instructor, so if you wanted to select your name and only maybe print the grades that you've given out, you can always filter that information and then click print here, and that's going to print any data that's on the screen there. That is how you enter grades. Again, you can also grab your grades report from the reports tab, manager report, and you can actually, when you click on the report list, on your keyboard, if you click the first letter of the name of the report, so if I click G for grade report card, it's going to take me straight to all the reports that start with that letter, and it might make it a little bit easier to find. This one might be under student grade report card. You can always filter the reports and go to school. That's again going to filter down those very specific school reports for you, which is a great way to quickly find the report that you're looking for. If this ends up being a report that you are constantly generating, you can always add it to your favorites so that you can quickly find it from your favorites list, as well as schedule it to be automatically emailed to you or to anybody else. You can do that daily, weekly, or monthly. So you can select student grade report, select your start date and end date. You can run it for a specific student, or you can run it for a specific program or course as well. If you do not see the items that you need to add grades for, such as your procedures, quizzes, classroom assignments, different items like that already listed in here, you'll want to get them entered under your service tab. Again, all the items that show up for grading are items that are entered in here as a service. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to show up available for the public. It's just where you house all the items that you're able to enter grades for. So you're going to first want to create a service type that's going to make sense to you. As explained, I have one in here named Theory. You can come in here, click Add. So update services, click Add, and go ahead and enter the name of that category that you want to use, whether it be classroom, procedures, any name that's going to make sense to you and the rest of your team. You can then answer the rest of these questions. If you are using our online booking site, you want to make sure that you say show online no, because you don't want these items to show up online. If you use our digital menu board, say no to that. You don't want these items to show up on the digital menu board. Same goes for your kiosk. If you have a self check-in kiosk for your clients, say no to these criterias here so that you make sure that those items are not going to pop up on those sections of your program. So your online booking, your digital menu board, and your kiosk. So simply enter the name there, click save, and that's going to add that service type. Once that service type is added, you can come in here and say new service, and that's going to create a blank sheet on the right hand side. So the same process as when you add in a regular service, and you'll be able to come in here and actually enter that name. So if this was going to be quiz number 2, I can enter that name there. And on service type, I'm going to make sure that I assign it to that classroom service type so that it does not show up on any other different live services service types there. I'm going to leave everything else as is, so no chemical card. I'm going to make sure that I say do not show online, do not show on menu board, and do not show on kiosk right in there. I don't have to worry about popularity, application time, or any pricing here because it's going to be used for grading purposes only. So you are just entering the name, assigning that service type, and unchecking the online booking menu board kiosk and clicking save. Once you save that item, you will see it when you come over to the grades section again and add grades. So if I come back in this section and start entering grades, I should be able to find my classroom category here. And here's that quiz number 2 that I just entered. And again, I'm going to enter one quantity, and this student received 100. And I can say save and close. And now that is your completed session here for entering grades. Again, the last steps that we took on getting those items entered is not something that you would do every single time. Once those items are entered in the system as services, you will never have to enter them again. They will always be available. But if you are entering grades and you don't see the procedures or items that you're looking for, then you want to follow those steps and you make sure that you go into admin and service and get those items entered. Again, by reaching out to your management as well, making sure that everybody is on the same page as to which items need to be entered in here for grading. If you have further questions, please use your help tab within your GuestVision software. That'll provide you with your tech support's phone number.